Welcome everybody. Welcome to a very overdue video. If you can't tell, it is Christmas time. But in today's video, we are here to talk about my Bonnet solar panel. So I installed this solar panel over a year ago. And since then, on the internet, these things have been popping up. Videos of how to install them, videos about them. But today's video is going to be a little bit different to all of those. I've had it now for over a year on this car, so we're going to talk about that. How it's been, the good and the bad, and if I recommend it or not. So to start off, all the way back when I was installing it, for any of those who want to go and check out that video, you're more than welcome to. I did it a little bit differently to everyone else. So most people use double-sided tape, 3M tape or other brands of double-sided tape to stick it down, but I went down a different track and I used Sikaflex or silicone to stick it down. Now halfway through doing it, I thought I made a grave mistake. I was like, I should have gone with the tape. I probably wouldn't go with the Sikaflex, but I just had to keep powering through because I was halfway there. And turns out it was a great result. This thing is stuck down really hard. It is not going anywhere. And after sealing up the edges with some more Sikaflex, it hasn't budged. So I've been really happy with that. And if I was to install another one, I would definitely be using the silicone instead of the double-sided tape. But that is up to your discretion on which way you want to do it. But one challenging thing through the install was the wiring. So there's not really any great place to send the wiring. I've kind of sent mine just over the side, and then it runs along with the little gutter here on the plastic between the bonnet and the windshield. And I've run my wire along there, down through the regulator and to the battery. I was going to make a video halfway in between these two about what I did with the wiring, because when I initially installed it I was not happy with it. But it turns out there's not really any better place for it to go, so that video never came out. I sat there for a couple of hours one day trying to figure out how I could rewire it a little bit better, and I just came back to that seems to be the best option. It's not the greatest, and probably my main complaint with regards to this solar panel here. Another thing to note with the solar panel is it collects a lot of dust. I think I mentioned that in the install video. I put that video out a week after I installed it, so I was driving around for a week. It's not the biggest of deals. I haven't really noticed it. You just give it a clean once in a while and it seems to be fine. As far as there was a few comments made about how well it's going to work because it's sitting right on top of a very warm engine. To be 100% frank, no, solar panels don't like heat. They never do. But it's worked. I haven't had any issues with it. It's just provided a little bit of power. Now, to do with that, we do need to go into what I'm actually running and how my setup is going. So I'll go into that right now. So that all relates together. But first of all, let's pop the bonnet. And we shall show you under the engine bay. Well, in the engine bay, not under the engine bay, but in the engine bay. So, when I first put this on, my battery setup was a little bit different to this, and it wasn't the greatest. So I have my main battery over there, and that was running through a Piranha isolator, just as like a solenoid, a smart solenoid isolator, around my auxiliary battery, which was a wet deep cycle battery. And then I added the solar in to run straight into the auxiliary battery. That system didn't work very well for my needs. The battery kept being fried by something, I don't know what. Anyway, I decided I was going to, about 6 months later, I decided I was going to redo the battery setup. And I have gone for a very different kind of setup. I got rid of the Piranha isolator, but I didn't go with a DC to DC charger. I got a Red Arc dual sensing smart solenoid. So very similar to the Piranha, except for it senses from the auxiliary battery as well, so it can recharge back to the main battery if you need to. but it's not a charger. It just connects the two batteries together. And then we've got the alternator, which always goes to the main battery and runs all that fun electronics over there. Kept the factory wiring all the same. And then I have got the solar panel running into the auxiliary battery. So there's probably a few setups out like this, but what I did a bit differently is I picked up a different kind of battery. So I've got I run a Century battery, and I've got their dual force, which is kind of a cranking and deep cycle battery. As far as cranking goes, it starts the car, it hasn't battered an eyelid at once. As far as deep cycling, thankfully, I haven't had to test that out too much because it hasn't really drained that much thanks to the solar panel. So the thing to do with this setup though is I'm not drawing much at all. I have got a 40 litre fridge in the back which is running 24/7. I haven't had to put either battery on charge, and that's because the fridge draws like 2 amps, it draws nothing. And then I just use 2 cigarette lighters, one in the front of the car and one at the back, which are on constant power from the secondary battery to charge whatever I need, run whatever I need when I'm camping. So it just runs a very low power consumption fridge plus 2 cigarette lighters, so it's drawing nothing. The great thing about this, I haven't had to touch it at all since installing that. I absolutely love this setup for what I do. And that is one of the reasons why I love this solar panel, because when you're driving, it charges that battery up full. When it's sitting throughout that day, that solar panel can easily keep up with the draw that I'm running that fridge, and maybe I'm charging a couple of devices, and it absolutely, definitely keeps up with all of that. So it's only really draining the battery overnight, and it's not much at all, and then it just recharges to the day. So throughout the winter, throughout the summer, I have not had to touch it at all. I haven't had to put either battery on charge, I haven't had to do anything. It just all works perfectly for me. And that is one reason why I do like that solar panel. Now, it is not for every person. It isn't a very large solar panel. If you're looking at it if you're looking to get one and you're wanting to cover all of your needs, then and you're drawing a lot of power, it's probably not for you. If you want it to add to a big solar array you've got on the roof and you just want that little bit extra power, go for it. If you're running a similar system to mine where you've only got a very small fridge in the back and you've got excess cash to spend, then go for it. It's been great. It just hasn't given me any dramas whatsoever. So I've been very impressed with it. If you do get one, I hope you are as well. I hope it works really well for you. But yeah, apart from that, there's probably a few more things I could say about it. I touched on in the last video the glare. It said on the website that the sun would stop the sun from bouncing off your bonnet into your eyes. Within the first week of driving, I did have a couple of moments where the sun was just reflecting off of it into my eyes, and it wouldn't necessarily do that from my bonnet generally. But since then, I've not even noticed it. It hasn't been a thing. I think that might have just been I was focused more on it because it was new. I wouldn't really say it's done a better job. I wouldn't say it's done a worse job for my particular vehicle anyway. It's just been a moot point. I don't notice it when I'm driving, which is a great thing. It just sits there and does its job, and I don't need to worry about that. One thing, when I got it though, I did get the kit with the vinyl cover, the solar panel, and got one sitting right here, the solar regulator which they supplied with it. When I unboxed the solar regulator, the wires were all had loosened all that putty inside, making it not watertight. I contacted the company, they were great. They sent me out another one, which I unboxed, and the same thing had happened to that one. So since then, I decided to run a different solar regulator, which I have sitting here. Not specifically this one, because obviously the one's in the car, but the same brand. So I got a Red Arc solar regulator, but instead of 30, I've just got the 10 amp in that car there, and it's done the job. It's been a tank, no worries there. So For what I do, for my needs, it has been brilliant. With everything everyone was saying about all the problems it has, I haven't found that. I have found a few other issues, but they're small. But these are great for their selected area. Depending on what you're doing, you need to work that out for your needs. They don't supply a lot of power at all. It keeps up with my fridge, it keeps up with me charging my batteries, and that is why it is great for me. But mainly, the engine does most of the work to charge this battery, as it should, as should any setup generally. Any setup on the vehicle anyway, the motor should be charging a lot of what you're doing if you're driving a lot. But if you're looking to base camp and get out there and sit for 4 days and have your batteries full topped up with a bunch of fridges, charging everything, having everything running, and you've just got that solar, it's not going to cut it. It's simply not. But small setup like mine, I'm driving constantly. I'm constantly changing spots where I'm going. It's been great. But even in saying that, with the tiny fridge I'm running, if I've got it sitting for 4 days here, I come back to it, the battery hasn't drained. It's perfect for my needs. But my needs might be different to yours. So with all that information said, I would recommend it. Basis specific. So what you're using it for. With all that information, you can choose if it is the right thing for you. But other than that, that is my update about this solar panel. So hope you got something out of it. Hope that's helped make up your mind. But until next time, enjoy.